them even simpler to win. So we are now welcoming our Facebook Live audience. All of the co-sponsoring organizations are now streaming this Zoom call on their Facebooks. Crystal, could you give a shout out to all the co-sponsoring organizations of this event?
Yes, definitely. We are so, it's been such a fun process over the last few months because, so many different organizations across Indian country have been really working to mobilize support, for Deb. And it's just been a beautiful thing to see everybody coming together. And so for tonight, there's been several organizations that have been working really closely together over the last 3 months that are also helping to sponsor tonight. And so those organizations are the Native Organizers Alliance, of which Judith is the fearless leader. We also Indian Collective. Yes, so Jade, our other fabulous co-host who is busy working on some of the technical stuff, is here representing for Indian. You also have IllumiNative, who's one of the hosts, as well as Advanced Native Political Leadership. And we had Anathea say a few words earlier. Ali Young, who I think is on from Protect the Sacred. Julia Walsh from We Stand United. Also Rania Batrice from Batrice and Associates has also been one of the co-hosts, as well as Data for Progress. And so Julian Noyes Bravecat and his colleague Danielle have been a part of that. And I think if we are missing anyone else, I think I got everybody. So I'm looking down my list. It's a pretty big group. Also, Licia Maddox as well, who Native Voice Network is also one of the organizations helping to organize tonight.
And she started at first representing the National Congress of American Indians. Yes. And Chairman Aaron Payment is one of the vice presidents of National Congress of American Indians. And we have been very glad to have their support as well. We, I think, need to welcome all of the Facebook Live viewers, and we want them to know that we just had a giveaway of posters of Deb, but you too can be a part of the giveaways. And the next giveaway that we do will make it possible for all who are viewing this live stream to potentially win, as we now know, a t-shirt, a very, very good t-shirt. So who else can we have surprise guests, and then we have surprised guests when they're called in, like our brother Simon Ortiz. Who else shall we get to say a few words about how they're feeling today? I see that Sherilyn Yazzie from Coffee Pot Farms on the Navajo Reservation is on the call. Sherilyn, can you unmute and give us a few insights from Danae? Maybe not. Maybe not. Ali Young, one of our co-sponsoring organizations from Protect the Sacred. Could you say a few words? Ali?
I don't see her. She might have dropped off.
All right. Well, we have someone who is one of the leaders of the MMIW movement in Washington State, and we would be very honored if Patricia Whitefoot could say a few words about how she's feeling on this historic day and tell us a little bit about the work of the MMIWG group that you work with in Yakima.
Good evening. It's getting evening here where I'm located. I just want to say that I'm happy to be here with each and every one of you and just continuing to say the prayers for Deb, but know that The prayers are also for our grandchildren, our great grandchildren, and our collective future that we share. And of course, with Deb, we've had the opportunity, like many of you women, to make it to an airport in 5 minutes or less and catch our planes. I'm just thinking of the wonderful conversations that I've had with many of you. And I just happened to come on finishing up with education initiatives, nationally. But this is such a momentous time in our history, as I've heard. I want to thank Fawn for her words. I see Tribal Chairman Aaron Payment and many women. Marlene, you're all here. We're all together. And it matters that we can come together. And I just want to say, I know our prayers are being answered. I know our ancestors are part of the work that we're doing. And so I want to say thank you, Judith. I didn't know I was going to be asked to speak. It is such a touching time for each and every one of us. And where I'm at on Yakima, people say, tell us what's going on so we know. And even though I'm a great grandmother sitting at home today, I try to let people know what's going on, with all the work you all do. And I'm just so proud of each and every one of you. So thank you, Judith. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, Patricia, we thank you for all the years of work that you have done to protect our families, our children, our women, and you're someone that so many of us have looked up to over the years. So thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. We also have Rachel Fernandez, a member of the legislature of the Menominee tribe. She also was involved in Natives Vote 2020. And in the Menominee County, which is where the Menominee reservation is, they increased the voter turnout by 23% since the last national election. Rachel, would you like to say what you're looking forward to when Deb Haaland is confirmed as the next Secretary of the Department of the Interior? Rachel?
And Judith, if Rachel's not ready, I'm hearing that Senator Ben-Ray Lujan is getting ready to make some remarks. So it might be a good time to start to head back to the floor. And just before we do, just roll with this, folks. We're not in control. The Senate's in control, and we're just trying to monitor and navigate. So hang in here. We're getting awfully close to predicting that the vote could be within the next 10 minutes. So if we could go back to the Senate viewing.
Pueblo woman and 35th generation New Mexican, Deb Haaland has a long overdue perspective to contribute to the Department of Interior's mission of protecting our natural resources and public lands and honoring America's trust responsibilities to tribal nations. She is uniquely equipped to begin to repair the relationship between Interior and the domestic nations it serves through the Bureau of Indian Affairs. These indigenous nations, these sovereign nations, these important departments, the Indian House Service, the Bureau of Indian Education. Speaking to Pueblo and tribal members in New Mexico, I know the significance of her confirmation, how it transcends policy. For young people in our state, she's the embodiment of the old adage that if you see it, you can be it. And knowing my friend Deb, although she will be the first, she's committed not being the last. As former vice chair of the House Natural Resources Committee, Deb Haaland also brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to her role as Interior Secretary. She's been a longtime champion of climate action, creating good-paying jobs, clean energy, and outdoor recreation. She played a key role in passing the Great American Outdoors Act out of the House of Representatives, successfully protected New Mexico landscapes, and set ambitious goals for conservation with her 30 by 30 resolution to save nature. But of all the qualifications and accomplishments that Deb Haaland will bring to the Department of Interior, there's one that stands out to those who know her best: her empathy. Deb's experience as a single mother struggling to keep a roof over her family's head allows her to connect with her compassion to her constituents and informs every aspect of her work. It's fitting that she will serve under a president who has made empathy the trademark of his administration. And I have no doubt that Secretary Haaland will leave a mark on the Department of Interior and on the history as we know it. I look forward to continuing to work with my friend to make a difference for the people of New Mexico. Thank you, Madam President. I yield the floor.
Madam President.
Senator from Delaware.
Madam President, I have 5 pages here somewhere. At least I thought I did. Madam President, I ask that the record actually show the words that I had planned to say. Let me just speak from my heart. Our presser colleagues just preceded me. He knows Deb Haaland from years of experience. Tom Udall, who served here for years and a close friend of all of ours, and has known Deb Haaland for forever. And I remember asking Tom Udall, I said, what does she bring? What does she bring to the United States Department of the Interior? And I'll never forget what Tom said. He said she'll bring a good heart. She'll bring a good mind. She has the heart of a servant. She is someone who is humble, not haughty. She'll provide the leadership that is needed at the Department of Interior after the years that we've been through. She will put together a good team, and when her team does well, she'll give them the credit. And when a team falls short, she will take the blame. Those of us in the state of Delaware are proud to be the first state. We have 2 wonderful national wildlife refuges. We have a national park with one of the newest ones in the country that is really helps tell the story of the settlement of our country, from the early days, colonial settlements, right up to the ratification of the Constitution. The Constitution lays out what is expected of us, serve here and in the administration, and also what is expected of cabinet secretaries. And it's seen in really the forward, if you will, the beginning of the Constitution, when it says, "We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union." We can do better than we're doing. We can do better than we're doing with respect to protecting our natural heritage, our wildlife, our migratory birds. We can do better in all of this. She will bring that commitment to doing better. I just close with this. I don't believe we've ever had in the history of our country a Native American who's been nominated to serve as a cabinet secretary. I think she's the first. And we're from the first state, Delaware. And the idea that she would be the first Native American, how appropriate, how appropriate. When you think about who are the original stewards of this land, our air and our water, the birds and the animals and fish and all that live here, migrate and populate this planet with us, Native Americans. They're the firsters. Native Alaskans, they were the first stewards. And it's only appropriate that finally we pick one of them, we choose one of them. She's been nominated by the president, gone through a confirmation hearing. We have a chance today to complete the process by nominating, by not nominating, but by confirming the nomination of Deb Haaland to be Secretary of the Interior. I hope we'll do that, and I thank you very much for allowing me to give these remarks. Thank you. Bye.
The question occurs on the nomination. Oh. Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Baldwin. Mr. Barrasso. Mr. Bennett. Mrs. Blackburn. Mr. Blumenthal. Mr. Blunt. Mr. Booker. Mr. Braun. Mr. Brown. Mr. Burr. Ms. Cantwell. Mrs. Capito. Mr. Cardin. Mr. Carper. Mr. Casey.
For those who might be just joining us, we're watching the vote on the nomination of Deb Haaland.
Ms. Collins. Mr. Coons. Mr. Cornyn. Ms. Cortez Masto. Mr. Cotton. Mr. Kramer. Mr. Crapo. Mr. Cruz. Mr. Daines. Ms. Duckworth. Mr. Durbin.
Martin was supposed to be in the chair, and I asked last week, and Martin was kind enough to let me do it.
Ms. Ernst.
Appreciate that. Thanks.
Mrs. Feinstein. Mrs. Fisher. Mrs. Gillibrand. Mr. Graham. Mr. Grassley. Mr. Haggerty. Ms. Hassan. Mr. Hawley. Mr. Heinrich. Mr. Hickenlooper. Ms. Hirono. Mr. Hoven. Mrs. Hyde-Smith. Mr. Inhofe. Mr. Johnson. Mr. Kane. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kennedy. Mr. King. Ms. Klobuchar. Mr. Langford. Mr. Leahy. Mr. Lee. Mr. Lujan.
Yes.
Ms. Lummis. Mr. Manchin. Mr. Markey. Mr. Marshall. Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. Menendez, Mr. Merkley, Mr. Moran, Ms. Markowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Portman, Mr. Reed, Mr. Risch,
Mr. Portman,
Romney, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Rubio, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Sass, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Shelby, Ms. Cinema, Ms. Smith, Ms. Stabenow, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Tester, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Toomey, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: Baldwin, Brown, Cantwell, Cardin, Carper, Coons, Cortez Masto, Durbin, Feinstein, Graham, Hassan, Heinrich, Klobuchar, Leahy, Lujan, Markey, Merkley, Murray, Ossoff, Padilla, Peters, Reed, Rosen, Schatz, Shaheen, Cinema, Smith, Stabenow, Tester, Van Hollen, Warnock, Warren, Wyden. Mr. King, aye. Senators voting in the negative: Blackburn, Cassidy, Cotton, Crapo, Hawley, Hyde-Smith, Inhofe, Kennedy, Lankford, Romney. Mr. Daines, no. Mr. Johnson, no. Mr. Paul, no. Mr. Shelby, no. Mr. Tuberville, no. Ms. Duckworth, aye. Mr. Tillis, no. Mr. Moran, no. Mr. Sanders, aye. Mr. Rounds, no. Mr. Warner, aye. Mr. Sass, no.
Crystal, this is Holly. Can you hear me okay?
Sure can. Yeah, do you want to explain to us what's happening right now?
Sure. It seems confusing, but the clerk is right now is rolling through all the names in alphabetical order. And there's not any real order after that. They can come down and vote. As you've seen, she ran through it once, gave the vote count. The senators have about 45 minutes to make it down to the floor to vote. So we're going to see this continue until, although I think we are getting close to the number that I thought I saw someone have up there 44. And as Heidi noted in the chat, that this is the older chamber and they still count the votes by hand. So yes, some of you asked, do they just put their thumb up or down? And some of you recall Senator McCain's famous vote on the Affordable Care Act, and with the famous, was the thumbs down, do I recall correctly? And so they are recording it by hand, and then they will read it out after they go through the roll call again. You do see several of the women dressed in red today, and I think folks are going to be making their way down for the final vote. The vote began about 15 minutes ago. So I think we can expect to see it conclude within the next 20 to 30 minutes, but we will be watching and watching that vote count. As some of you noticed, some of the from the cloture vote, which is really, that was the hurdle. And that was what most folks that work in the Senate, that's usually the real vote on any controversial issue. I wouldn't say Deb was, I would say she was embattled and on this path to the nomination. I'm keeping an eye on the floor as well. So we'll see this vote total updated as we continue.
Holly, I think people's anxiety has been building. So nobody's voted in a way that surprised us so far, right?
No, and that was where I was going. Thank you, Crystal. We saw that Senator Graham voted with us. That was reported on the 1st. If you all recall, we had a 54-42 vote. So we had 4 Republicans vote with us on the cloture vote. So we are watching for those remaining 4 to join us again. And that was Collins, Murkowski, and the 4th, Collins, Murkowski, Graham, and who was our 4th? Who's going to put that up in there?
Collins, Murkowski, Graham. Help us out.
Colin.
So few Republicans to count.
Yes,
Colin.
So we are watching for that. Thank you.
Collins.
Collins, that's what it was. Thank you for that. And we weren't surprised by Romney, right? We'd heard ahead of the vote that Romney was going to vote no. Yes, I'm totally in agreement with everyone in the chat. We're disappointed, but.
Yes, Romney, he was on the fence for a while. We had high hopes that he would vote with us because he had voted yes on all of the nominees so far. He had indicated he was going to vote no on Neera Tanden before her name was withdrawn. But he did indicate last week that he was a no on Deb Haaland, and he voted no on the cloture vote. So we didn't expect his support today either.
So someone had said that Murkowski, in one of the chats I'm following so many and too many all at once. Someone said that Murkowski voted no. Is that true?
I did not hear that yet.
Oh, good. Stomp that rumor out. Rumor control.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important. I put this in the chat. NOA, Native Organized Alliance, is a nonpartisan organization, but I think it is really important for us as we celebrate to remember who voted no on Deb's nomination and to get some better representation in your state. Someone is unmuted. Could you?
And just a reminder, everyone, to first, make sure you're on mute. But second, we're rolling with it, right? Holly's been our Senate guide, right? So this is, people are not all in the room. They've got to come down and cast their vote. So this could take a few minutes. So we're all kind of hanging in, but don't forget the time to be back. If you got to stroll off and do a call or get some coffee, 6:30 Eastern, right, is when we are going to have our celebration event, no matter what, with some very, very special guests. So you do not want to be late for that. I promise you, because we are going to get started really promptly. So hang with us. Again, we're watching history happen. And sometimes history is like watching, water drip from a faucet, but it's history nevertheless.
Yes. So
And
like the Super Bowl, but not like the Super Bowl in terms of action. But yeah, so far we have Collins and Graham. So as expected, we will hold the entire Democratic caucus. So that is 50. On the Republican side, we have 2 that have voted in support of the nomination so far, and that is Senator Collins and Senator Graham. So we do expect at least 2 more, and we are welcome and open to more surprise Republican votes, but I'm not holding my breath.
And for those of you who may be just joining us either on Facebook Live or on Twitter or on Instagram, we will be having a celebration once the votes are tallied. We feel very hopeful, and there are going to be some very big surprise guests, so don't go away. So someone's reporting that on C-SPAN, the vote tally is 45 yes, 28 no.
I love it. We have a village. I love this big village.
Yes.
This big circle we have that's helping us keep track of everything.
One of the things that I know I would have done is just sit with a bowl of popcorn by myself, yelling at the screen. And this way we can share, as everyone is doing in the chat, our reactions, but also some important points. I know Chairman Payment said that it's so important to understand, even though our groups are nonpartisan, it's so important to understand which leaders have our backs, and to remember when making campaign donations, either from a tribal level or personally, or when deciding, doing voter registration, how to mobilize on the issues that are of concern in the next senatorial races in your state. Holly, any new information?
No new updates, but some of us are political wonks. I recognize several of you on here. So I always find it fun to watch the floor and watch the members who are on the floor. And like I said, keep an eye as we get closer to the vote. I expect that it's usually a very controlled environment, but given the historic nature of today's vote, I do expect that particularly the women senators will be coming down in support and sharing in the moment. So it is fun to both watch for your own senator, and sometimes you see some comical things happening on the floor in terms of I think someone was dancing a few minutes ago. We've noted that there are women wearing red, which I think is a terrific show of support, both for Indian country and for Deb's nomination, and the fact that she has made the missing and murdered Indigenous women a priority issue for her as she moves into her new spot. While we're waiting for the vote, we can talk a little bit about what to expect in the next couple of days after we have our celebration this evening with some very special guests. After the floor vote, Deb is expected to, Secretary Haaland, sounds great, is expected to be sworn in tomorrow afternoon, and she will begin work Wednesday morning as the 54th Secretary of the Interior. and the first Native American. So I'm hopeful that that we catch Deb walking through those doors. I think we all know what that symbolism means, to watch her walk through those doors, and through those doors, Judith, that you projected her image on a couple of weeks ago. So I'm not sure what time the swearing in is for, but I understand it's in the afternoon. And some of them have been available by Zoom. I know Crystal and Judith and I are all tracking down that information, and we will get that out if it is actually going to be public.
Yeah, and I think the last update I heard is that it probably wasn't going to be public, but they would definitely be sharing at least an official photograph and hopefully maybe just a clip. It's going to go fast. They said it'll be like 90 seconds. And then she's off to the races.
But maybe like my grandson does with We Gotta Move It from Madagascar. We can just play it over and over and over again.
You know, while we're waiting, I just saw one of our organizational partners just joined, Allie Young, and I know we were looking for her early. So I don't know, Allie, if you want to just say a few words while we're watching this vote happen.
Hey everyone, sorry I had to jump off. Yeah, it's so good to be with everyone. Wow, there's so many people on this call. And just amazing support for Deb, and yeah, I'm just so happy to have been working with the amazing leaders on this call, like Crystal, Judith, the folks from We Stand United, Julia and Rania and Holly. And yeah, I'm just, it's incredible to see. And I think it's, you know, right now with all that we've been through with COVID and the pandemic, and, you know, showing the rest of the world our resiliency and the way that we're coming back and taking control of our communities, and helping our people survive this pandemic and then continue to thrive. And just to have Secretary Haaland on, you know, this historic win is like the icing on the cake, and it's just really incredible. And I think we're just going to continue to see this happen moving forward. And I don't know if our brother Mark Ruffalo is on the call, but he always says that this is the Native century, and it really is. And, you know, really feeling that right now. And so thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Allie. I think Uncle Hulk, as my daughter likes to call him, was on. He snuck in, and I think he had to sneak off real quick. So we're hoping that he might be able to join us later. And you know, we're so grateful to Mark and so many other allies who have just really been a part of mobilizing support for Deb. And it's been incredible to watch all these different folks from all over, all walks of life coming together to support this moment, not only for Deb, but for Indian country.
So I just got a text that he's jumped back on. Mac, are you on the call?
Yes, I am.
Ah.
Hi,
I
Mark.
am. Hi, everybody. What? Oh, it says I'm Allie Young. Does my name say Allie Young?
No.
It does.
It does. How did that
Let me take
happen?
my hat. I don't know. It's so weird.
And you joined just in time. We're at 49 yeses.
I always wanted to be Allie. Oh, that's amazing news.
Yes, to bring us across the finish line.
What a celebration, you guys. I mean, we're almost there, but everyone's worked so hard to get here. One could say it's been 200 years of trying to get here. And yeah, I think we're seeing the fact that they're naming craters on the moon after the Navajo language on Mars, and that Deb is about to be hopefully the Secretary of the Interior is just the beginning, I think, of a very, very special time. So the Native century, as I was inspired to call it when we were we were fighting to get folks to have a vote in 2018.
Red 50. Sorry.
And so we've come a long way. Anyway, I love you guys. I'm so honored to be here with you. So thank you for all your hard work for this day.
Well, thank you, Mark, for everything. And Holly, did I hear we hit 50?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mark, for all of your support. Public, we are at 50. And we expect that that puts us where we need to be. Everything else from here is gravy. This is, as we all know, I've said it before, but Deb is so dehydrating, right? We bringing tears to us over and over again. I find myself choking up, and like many of you, at the historic nature that as we watch her being confirmed in the Senate. And I know all of you that have worked so hard, and for all the Native women who are going to watch her walk through those doors, this is a moment I know that many of us never thought we would see in our lifetimes, but really represents the hard work of so many people in Indian country, and Deb herself for being the person that we could support and doing all the work. So this is
so much.
Really is such a big day. I'm really happy to share it all with you. Looking at the floor, who knew that we would have Deb Haaland from the Pueblo of Laguna as the Secretary of Interior. A huge thank you to President Biden, Vice President Harris, for living up to their commitment of having a cabinet that looks like America, and one that finally includes Native America. This is really one.
So much of the credit for what is happening today and what has been happening these last several months goes to the grassroots moccasins on the ground who risked their lives to ensure that the Native vote turned out. We were working in the most infectious places in this country, and we got the Native vote out, and we interrupted the narrative. Our vote is a critically, politically sophisticated vote. We made the difference in Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Just in the Menominee Reservation alone, in Menominee County, we increased the vote 23% by an Indian-led mobilization in the most infectious county in the state of Wisconsin. And so many, many people in North Carolina, in Alaska, in Hawaii turned the vote out. And we not only got our voices heard, but we actually said what we wanted. We're leaning into the grassroots Native political power that has always been there. We just didn't organize enough. And now we're ready. We're ready for Deb to be the secretary. And the Biden administration has appointed more Indians in his administration than any other in history. The Rescue Act passed, the largest investment in Indian country made by the Congress. We're at the very beginnings. We're at the very beginnings of something so very new. And I think that my grandson, I was trying to get him to come and wave to everybody, but my grandson is going to benefit. And I know as an elder, so much of what Deb and Fawn Sharp and so many other women leaders are doing are going to benefit my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren. And so maybe Allie or Jade, I know Jade has been working behind the scenes trying to keep this tech monster rolling. Jade, do you want to say a few words?
Sure. Thank you, Judith. And oh, thanks for moving me up here. Yeah, what struck me when you were speaking was the shout out to Alaska. And I just learned, thanks to, our helpful resource Twitter, that Senator Murkowski actually cast the 50th vote and the deciding vote for Deb Haaland's historic nomination to Interior Secretary. And I want to shout out all of the organizers, grassroots organizers, allies in Alaska as a really important state, not just in November, but in this work to, advance Deb to this moment. And so, to Native movement, to, and I'm like all of a sudden blinking and just in like a really joyful, tearful moment. But all of our relatives up in Alaska, just really grateful to their organizing. I know they were writing letters and pressuring, their tribes to also stand in solidarity with Deb for Interior. So I think it's really important to uplift the work that happened up there. It was very critical in this work. So hopefully we can call on some of our Alaskan relatives this afternoon and over the course of this evening. But I really wanted to just take a moment to recognize those relatives and that work.
Thank you so much. And Holly, I think we have another special guest on that we've been waiting for.
Has the senator joined us?
I believe yes. Senator Elizabeth Warren is on. Senator, are you there?
There's dancing on the Zoom, Senator.
I'm not sure if she has actually come on. I know they've logged her in. Let me double check.
Okay, while we're waiting for Senator Warren, I'd like to call on Chairwoman Amber Torres from the Walker River Paiute tribe in Nevada, one of the key states of the Indian vote. Amber, how do you feel? What you looking forward to?
I am over the moon right now. I think we all are. It's celebration time. Now the work really gets started, but I am beyond excited. Like I said, Native women breaking barriers every day. And, is that, Biden kept his word and his promises, when he came and asked us all for his support. We're seeing things happen. Some of the biggest and most fortunate things for Indian country. And that's absolutely exciting. So shaking, that's what I'm doing right now, shaking with excitement.
So I want to call on Fawn Schaap one more time while we're waiting for the senator, unless she has checked in, Holly.
She has not. I'm waiting for her staff, but I think they are closing the vote. The outstanding vote was Ted Cruz.
Oh.
No surprises there.
Oops.
I believe he was the last one.
He must have just gotten back from vacation.
Yes. And I do want to flag, it's going to, we're likely to be one short on our side. Oh, I think we have 3 votes left. Three outstanding votes. I will flag, we're likely to be one short on the Democratic side because Senator Mazie Hirono from Hawaii, who were she in here, she would have voted yes, but she had to go home to Hawaii for a family emergency. So I think at this point we are expecting it to end with a 53, and there are 3 outstanding votes left.
So Fawn, could you say a few words? I think the National Congress of American Indians is going to play such an important role in moving us from consultation to free, prior, informed consent, something that is so greatly needed at this time of crisis, when it comes to climate crisis, when it comes to protection of sacred sites, when it comes to healthcare. Could you say a few words?
Yes, Will, thank you. No matter how much one prepares for a moment and you just imagine, you vision, you dream, when that moment happens, nothing can prepare you for a historic, groundbreaking, extraordinary moment like what we are all witnessing right now. Nothing has prepared us. And I just know that the stark contrast of seeing Ryan Zinke ride into town on a horse versus Madam Secretary coming into town on the shoulders of generations of our leaders that have contributed so much for so long And here we all are. It is just a momentous moment. And with regard to free, prior, and informed consent in a new era of a relationship that we have with the United States that is based on equity, a political equality where we come together government to government. It's honored, it's respected. It's just an extraordinary moment. And I know that under Secretary Haaland's leadership, we are going to make significant strides, improving on the Obama era into a new era, a new chapter. And I'm just so incredibly, words can't even really describe how I'm feeling right now. It's just, I know the prayers of so many of our ancestors that sacrificed so much have been answered today, and the dreams of those generations yet to be born that aren't even here. It's so incredible, and I'm just thank you everyone who is on this call, and I'm just truly honored to offer these words. Sioquio.
Thank you so much. And I just saw, I think we just hit 51 with Schumer. Is that right? I'm seeing. Yes, like Holly said, right? It's all gravy from here, but it's official, everybody. She is confirmed. Tears of joy. And I can just only imagine if it wasn't for damn COVID, Miss Rona, we would all be dancing in the streets right now in DC. And I know that time's going to come when we can all come together. And I know Deb's looking forward to that time when it's safe, when we can all come together to celebrate this moment for Indian country.
Well, even still, I think we want to see everyone doing their digital powwows and honor dances. I remember that viral video of that when it was announced. Well, I think this was during election when someone jumped out of their car, and I believe it was here in Albuquerque, and they did a honor dance in the road. So we definitely want to see those come out over the next few days for Deb.
Definitely. Hashtag Native Joy all over.
Yes. Hashtag Deb for Interior.
Hashtag Deb. I just saw we have Representative Ruth Ann Buffalo on. Ruth, do you want to say a few words? Putting you on the spot.
Sure. It's really good to be in this virtual space with everybody. I have two laptops on, and then watching it on the big screen, and it's just super exciting to witness history. I remember we went out to DC for the Indigenous Peoples March, and we got to have coffee with Deb Haaland after that event, my daughter and I, and it was my daughter's birthday weekend. And Deb Haaland is just such an amazing woman, so down to earth, and always asks about my daughter and how our children are doing. So I'm just super proud and just honored to be in this virtual space with all of you. So Madza Gidads, thank you in the Hidadza language.
Everyone should know that Ruth Ann Buffalo defeated the North Dakota state senator who introduced the bill to try to strip us of our right to vote in 2018. Not only was he defeated by Ruth Ann, but Deb and Charisse were elected. So we had a day on election day. So I'd like to call on another one of the leaders of a co-sponsoring group of this event, Nick Tilson from NDN Collective. It's really a joyful moment, but Nick is someone who understands the role of the grassroots in making history. Nick?
Hamadakyapi, Nick Tilson, Amachiapi, Chantea, Washdenape, Chuzapalo. Oh, wait. Is my volume high enough? Can you hear me now? Okay. Adjust it. Well, I just want to say, I think NDN Collective is honored to have played one small role in this, but this is an entire movement that made this happen. And I think it's important too, also for us as men, young and old, to recognize that this movement is being led by Indigenous women, and that we know that for a long time, what it takes for something to be done in Indian country is it takes the leadership of Indigenous women, and it takes us men to follow that leadership and to support that, and that this is a representation of that having happened, and that this is the times that we're in, and so it's really
I'm
exciting.
sorry to interrupt you. I'm so sorry, but Senator Schumer is now speaking about.
Or to undermine the relationship between the federal government and tribes that have been done in a long time. Deb Haaland will reverse that and move much further along. So we're proud of what the Senate has done. Now, Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the motion to be considered made and laid upon the table, and the president be immediately notified of the Senate's actions.
Without objection.
I move to proceed to legislative session.
The question is on the motion.
Nick, as you were saying.
Oh, this is just a historical moment altogether. I'm all caught up in all the feelings and energy, and yeah, just like I don't know, we're in this arc of change for our communities and for our people, and it's from the grassroots now all the way to the highest places of power, and in this country and in this world, and to see grassroots people and tribal leaders and people from all walks of life step into these roles that transform our communities and taking a risk for our land and for our people and for our future collectively. It's just an honor to be in this moment in history, and to be standing side by side with each and every one of you as we build power for our people and we reshape and we reimagine. And I think in this moment, I can't help but think about that our young people all across Indian country are beginning to see themselves in a future that we are fighting for and creating for them and giving them reason to live and reason to be here and reason to fight. And I just, being a father of 2 boys and 2 girls, I feel that, and they feel connected. They feel connected to this future that we're building. And I think that young people all across this nation feel that. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that, acknowledge the young people, and on this call, and our matriarchs throughout Indian country, and Deb Haaland as a matriarch to change the conditions for our communities and for our people. And it's an honor to be here with each and every one of you. Wopila.
Wopila. So, shall we let the party begin?
Yeah.
Is it time? So, for those of you who are just joining, maybe on live stream, because some of you wanted to wait till the smoke cleared to join this live stream, we've been sitting around the virtual fire, sharing wisdom, maybe a little snack, and just tears of joy. My name is Judith Leblanc. I am the director of Native Organizers Alliance. I'm a citizen of the Caddo Nation, and I am calling from Seminole territory. And I walk with a high heel on one foot and a moccasin on the other. And I want my other co-hosts to introduce themselves for those who are just joining. Jade.
Thank you, Judith. Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm Jade Begay, Climate Justice Director at the NDN Collective, and just really honored to be here with you all to bear witness together this historic moment for our communities, and especially for Native women. As Nick was just saying, it's a big moment for the matriarchs and all the femmes and women, girls who are in our communities, and who lots of our grassroots movements, they carry those movements, they inspire those movements. So just really excited to be here with you all, and excited to carry on with our celebration this evening. I'll pass it to you, Crystal.
Great. Well, actually, I'm going to pass it over to Miss Holly, because we have a really special guest that Holly's going to introduce. Holly.
Wonderful. Thank you, Crystal. Senator Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts has joined us this evening. I think Judith was going to pin her for us so that we can all say hello. But many of us know Senator Warren. She has been a tremendous advocate for us in Indian country. She has been there for Congresswoman Haaland from the day she announced her campaign, and as a part of her support team all the way through up to today. I reached out to you, Senator Warren, because you called me on the day that Deb was nominated, and it was such a terrific surprise. And it was, and we shared a couple of tears and of joy. And I thought, I know that you were going to be so excited and so proud along with us for Congresswoman Haaland and with her confirmation today. I'm so glad that you could join us and kick off our celebration this evening. Thank you. Everyone, please welcome Senator Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts.
Oh, woo! I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Holly. I really appreciate the introduction. Thank you, Crystal, for lateraling to Holly on this. That was very sweet of you to do. You know, I just can't tell you how excited I am. Deb isn't here yet, so this is a perfect time to talk about her and to talk about how wonderful she is. You know, there are votes you get to take as a senator, votes you've got to take as a senator. And some votes make me happy, some votes make me sad, some votes I'm kind of somewhere in between. But this is a vote that truly just makes me over the moon happy. It is such an exciting moment. It is just wonderful to be here, to have a chance to celebrate with all of you. I'm honored to have this chance, but I share the sentiment that Judith raised earlier. This is a moment for tears of joy because Deb made history today, but every one of you made history today. It was truly a privilege to be on the Senate floor and have the chance to vote for Deb Haaland. But I wouldn't have had that chance if it hadn't been for Deb, her intelligence, her determination, her deep commitment to build a better nation, a better place for everyone. But I also wouldn't have had the chance to confirm Deb if it hadn't been for the deep support from friends and supporters all across Indian country. So when we celebrate, obviously we are celebrating Deb's victory, but we are celebrating your victory. I am reminded no one accomplishes anything of real meaning alone. We do this together. And Deb's victory is your victory. Deb's victory, I feel happy. This is just a moment where I have hope for a better relationship between the United States government and the tribal nations, an opportunity to lift up a voice in Washington that has never been heard before. Not at that magnitude, not at that volume, not with that kind of power to back it up. So I'm just excited to be here and just wanted to throw in my 2 cents of saying how terrific this is, how important this is. And thank you for inviting me to join you in this celebration. I might have to go in a couple of seconds. I've got to go do an interview and talk about good things that are happening right now. But most of all, I'm just excited and waiting for the moment to be able to say directly to Deb how happy I am for my friend, for my colleague, and now for Madam Secretary. It's wonderful. Yeah. So thank you all, and thank you for having me. Thank you.
So much,
thank you,
Senator.
Holly.
Thank you for being such an incredible ally to Indian country. I'm so glad you could join.
Thank you. And,
Thank you, Senator.
And keep in mind, Crystal, just the beginning. Just the beginning. we got a lot of ground to cover. And with Deb there at Interior now, and a majority, bare majority, but a majority of Democrats in the Senate, we've got a chance to make real change. Not a little bit of change, but a lot of change. and you all are going to lead this. I think this is so exciting. So thank you. Thank you all. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Holly, could you introduce our guest to do the honor song?
Oh, has Deb joined us?
I'm jumping the gun.
Okay.
I'm not sure if.
Well, we do know that Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan is here with us.
Okay.
Anishinaabe.
And I think Anathea, if Peggy is going up next, Crystal, then while we wait for our honored guest, then I believe Anathea Chino from Advanced Native Political Leadership is going to be introducing the Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota, Peggy Flanagan.
Hi, everyone. Is Peggy on?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, great. I see her there. Hello. Gawatsi, Helpa, everybody. Hi, I'm Anathea Chino. I am one of the co-founders and the executive director of Advanced Native Political Leadership. I'm from Laguna Pueblo, and I'm going to try my best not to cry. But when I think about Secretary Haaland coming from one of the pueblos in New Mexico, and an early conversation that I had with her about the role of women in our pueblos. Many of us, there aren't leadership roles for us, and what it looks like for us to be representatives and leaders off of our own lands and consistently represent and fight for our sovereignty, our rights in our community in many different ways, and what it looks like for us and how it looks differently for us. In the very early days, I think of Holly, your influence in my trajectory in like politics and what it looks like to create pathways for other people into leadership positions. And when I came into politics in 2004, Holly was the person that hired me in my first political position. And in 2004, I also met Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan and became very fast friends, like I did with Holly at the same time, and watching the trajectory of Peggy also in the experience of creating the first and then the only Native American leadership program at Wellstone Action, now Repower, but years later in the role that we're taking on with Advanced Native Political Leadership to build up a recruitment and training program to bring more people in to ensure that Secretary Haaland and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, not the last, the first of very many to come. So it is my honor and privilege to introduce my dear friend and sister, Peggy, who is also a co-founder of Advanced Native Political Leadership and deeply involved in the work that we're doing. It is such an honor to support your leadership. I love you so much. So welcome, Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan.
Whew, well, bonjour, everybody. It's a pretty good day. I thought I wouldn't cry till later, but here we go. Bonjour, Peggy Flanagan, Indigenous, Guababa, Beganikag, Nundunjaba, Manganindodame. My name is Peggy Flanagan. I'm a member of White Earth, and my family is the Wolf Clan. I'm the Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Minnesota. And I cannot believe that this day has come. And there are so many people who have been a part of ensuring that Deb Haaland is the Secretary of the Interior. And I'm going to be really obnoxious every single time I talk to Deb Haaland and call her Madam Secretary over and over and over again, because it sounds so good and she has earned it. When I think about, as Anathea mentioned, the work that we did very early on in 2004, as we were organizing in our communities and building on so much of the work and organizing that had happened across Indian country to begin to register voters in our communities, then turn them out. And then we said, you know what? That's not enough. Not only do we need to elect folks who represent us, they need to be, moving on our policies, and then we need to run for and serve in office ourselves. And we have seen this tidal wave of leaders step up, and we're just getting started. And I think what the most powerful part of this moment is that we know that Native women have been leaders since time immemorial. And it is simply the rest of society that is catching up to us. And I think it's important that we remember that in moments like this one. We are absolutely supposed to be here. We are supposed to be at every table, every single place where decisions are made about our lives. We deserve to be there. And so I know that all of us are wrapping our arms around Deb as she is stepping into this incredibly important role for all of us. But I also know a little something about being an Indigenous woman in systems that were not created by us or for us, but too often were created to silence or eliminate us. And so as she goes into this role, into this space, in a way, even beyond what we have done for Deb and Charisse in their role in Congress, we need to lift them up. We need to hold them, and we need to ensure that our prayers of protection surround Secretary Haaland as she is going into this place and this space, because she's going to have to do a lot of difficult work. And sometimes she might disappoint us. And that's okay, because we know that she is in there and she is holding all of us while we simultaneously hold her in this role. So while she is the first Native American cabinet secretary, she will not be the last, because what Deb does is she throws down the ladder to make sure that there are more of us who can come up. And that is our role in all of these places and spaces, is to hold the door open. I know that for me, that's my job, is to hold the door wide open, so we don't say the first lieutenant governor, the first Anishinaabe Kwe is lieutenant governor, but we'll say the second and the third and the 10th, so on and so forth, because our moment, our time has come where we are serving in every level of leadership, in our tribal governments, our local governments, our state governments, and our federal government. And this is what democracy is supposed to look like, when it accurately reflects the people it seeks to represent. And you know what? Even in these systems that were not created by us or for us, that's all right. My dad, who we lost a little over a year ago, used to say, "My girl, I want to burn the system down, and you want to change it from the inside out." And we need both. So all of us need to figure out what our role is in this movement to serve our people, and to do it with everything we have. And Deb has already proven that to us, that she does that for us. She will continue to do that with us, and we must have her back. So I am just really honored and humbled to be here with y'all, and just appreciate the leadership of all the organizations who worked to bring us to this moment, and Anathea and Judith and Jade and Holly and Crystal, and so many folks who just said, we are going to get this done, and didn't stop until we got to those 51 votes. So congratulations to Madam Secretary, but also congratulations to all of us, because we know that Deb's victory is all of our victories. So Chimigwech, thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor. Like, dang, all you women are making me cry. So good. And I hear our special guest might be joining any minute now if we can get technology figured out. She's trying to log in right now. So, while we're waiting again, thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor Flanagan. Let's see, I'm wondering, why don't we ask for one more speaker?
Yes,
Time.
I have my eye on someone. And I always say that it's really not a meeting in Indian country if there isn't an echo hawk involved. And we are so happy to see that John Echo Hawk, one of our elders, a mentor to many, is on this call. John, could you say a few words about the significance of this day and the work ahead? I think Peggy is right. How do we hold Deb, and how does Deb hold us? How are we in good relationship? John?
This is such a historic day. I'm glad to be among all of you to commemorate this special occasion. I'm really pleased because Deb is from New Mexico, just like me. She's a graduate of the University of New Mexico Law School, just like me. I met her down there when she was a student. I knew right away she was a go-getter, and sure enough, she is, and look at her today. I am so proud of her. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Uncle. And I think our very special guests have arrived. So if we could call upon Representative Davids and also Madam Secretary Haaland, if you're on. Let's see. We saw you lurking in the Zoom. Where
did you see us lurking? I kind of feel like, can we just sit next to each other? And then I'm going to get off the screen when it's time for you to talk, but everybody wants to see your face. So I'm just going to be on here for 2 seconds to just, first of all, say how proud I am of Deb Haaland for everything that she's accomplished, not just during this time that we've been serving in the House together, but even prior to that. Deb has spent, Secretary Haaland has spent so much time devoting her life to really making sure that Native folks have their voices heard in this system, and has really overcome a lot of obstacles. And I think a lot of folks know the obstacles she's overcome, but some of the things that really are impactful, I think, and why I feel so connected with her is because, like my mom, she's a single mom. We're both Army brats. We're both, well, military brats, I should say. Excuse me. Sorry, I know your parents are. And I have to say that during this time that we've been serving in the House together, the bond that we had really only grew stronger. And although I'm going to be very, very, very sad to not be serving alongside her in the House, I am so excited to work with her as she runs the Department of Interior. And I just want to share really quickly, when the news came out and was starting to come out that that President Biden had nominated Deb Haaland for the Department of Interior, she said she was going to reach out to me in just a couple minutes, and like 20 minutes went by and I couldn't wait anymore. So I called her and I said, "Is it true?" And she said, "I'm not supposed to say anything until 7 tonight." And I was like, "It's all over the news." And then she said, "Yes, it's true." And then we both cried for a long time on the phone and FaceTiming and stuff. And I remember feeling what I think is the collective sense of Indian country, of joy, of empowerment, of the significance of it and the weight of it, the weight of having somebody who is like us running the Department of Interior, when at the beginning of this country and for so long, the federal government's approach to tribal nations, to Native people, was through the lens of the Department of War. And now we have somebody who's going to be making decisions and listening to tribes and working on these issues that have impacted every single one of us in ways that we can't even wrap our minds around sometimes. And she's going to do it with compassion and with integrity and with a deep understanding of why this is so important. And I know the folks who are listening today and who are celebrating alongside me in our collective joy for the work that that Deb Haaland is doing. I'm going to stop so that we can hear from our next Secretary of Interior, Deb Haaland.
Yay. Hi, everybody. So my sisters are here and they're cooking, and we're gonna have dinner in tonight. And I had a call earlier with my security detail, and so I was teasing my sisters. We're like, we need more tomatoes for the salad, and I was like, let me hurry and run out before the security detail finds out that I, got voted in. So I kind of, realized that things are going to change for me, but it won't be unlike the time I visited Minnesota and got to hang out with Madam Lieutenant Governor and be chauffeured around in her big black SUV. So that was pretty awesome. I felt really important when I hang out with Lieutenant Governor Flanagan. And so hopefully, Lieutenant Governor, I can return the favor sometime when you come to DC and we can cruise around, just from one place to the next. But I am super proud. I'm a proud member of Laguna Pueblo. I'm a proud representative for Congressional District 1. I haven't resigned the House yet, so I'm still a Congresswoman at the moment. And of course, the future Secretary of Interior. And I am so grateful to everyone, to all of you, for so many people, millions and millions of prayers, and millions of thoughts and conversations and Twitter posts and Instagram posts and videos and everything that all of you did to tell the universe that it was time that we had representation in a place where we've never had representation. I am so grateful to every single one of you for everything that you have done for me. Throughout the time I ran to join Charisse as one of the first Native women in Congress, and up to now. And though it would be amazing to be with every single one of you in person, I'm so happy that I could be here with you all safely and virtually. Of course, this moment is a culmination of so many of the sacrifices that my ancestors made to leave behind a future for me, to my family who is here with me, the hard work we spent advocating and organizing for our communities in the new visibility for Indigenous people. And thank you, Crystal Echohawk, for everything you have done to make that word, visibility, to make that word important for Indian country, and realize that if we're visible, that means our needs are being met. That means we're being taken seriously. That means our issues are going to be at the forefront of so many of the things that we know people need to fight for. And though it should not have taken more than 200 years for a Native person to take the helm at Interior, or even be a cabinet secretary for that matter, President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and the entire administration are going to use this moment to build back better for every single one of us. I recognize that each of you, with your prayers, your tweets, your letters, your hopes and dreams, helped me to get through the selection process, the confirmation hearings, and today's final confirmation vote. Again, I am incredibly grateful for all of you. And of course, I'm going to need your support moving forward too. I've never been a Secretary of Interior before. And so, heck,
I hope you keep your phone lines open, and I can see Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, because I might just call you some night at midnight when I need some help. Our country is facing interlocking crises of a global pandemic, an economic downturn, racial injustice, and climate change. We have so much work to do to bring justice to the communities who have borne the burden of environmental injustice, to Native American, Alaska Native, Native Hawaiian communities who have lived through terrible atrocities, and to those who will be needing jobs in a clean energy economy. I'm ready to roll up my sleeves so that Interior can play our part in the President's plan to build back better and to responsibly manage our natural resources to protect them for future generations so that we can continue to live, work, hunt, fish, and prey among them. I want to give a humongous thanks individually to Judith Leblanc with Native Organizers Alliance, Crystal Echohawk with IllumiNative, Nick Tilson with Indian Collective, Holly Cook Macarro, my dear, dear friend, Anathea Chino, who I credit with getting me involved in Indian voting in the first place. She's with Advanced Native Political Leadership, Julian Noisecat with Data for Progress, Allie Young with Protect the Sacred, Lycia Maddox with Native Voice Network, Rania Batrice with Batrice and Associates, and Julia Walsh with We Stand United for organizing this event to recognize this historic moment. I also want to let all of you know that in my little house right here, every single one of us are vaccinated, so that's why we're not wearing masks. I just want to make sure that we're following all the public health recommendations and rules, and certainly wish you all safety and health. And I think there is going to be so much work to do for all of us to do, and just know that I am ready. I promise I will be fierce for everyone, for our public lands, and for all of our communities. And thank you all so much. Again, I love every single one of you. Thank you.
Madam Secretary, thank you so much. We have so many people on this call who want to send their greetings. I know that Fawn Schaap has been with us, and Chairman Payment, and Chairwoman Torres. We would like to call on Holly to introduce the singers.
Yes, we have Floyd Buck Jourdain from the Red Lake Nation, who is joining us to do an honor song for you, Madam Secretary.
Oh, greetings from the Red Lake Band of Chippewa Indians. My name is Floyd Buck Jourdain. I'm an Ojibwe, and today we're honored. Here at Red Lake, there's two things that we hold very, very sacred: tribal sovereignty and our Indigenous lands. And this past year has been pressing for everybody. I know with all of the things that our new secretary talked about, the pandemic and all of the things that are going on in the country. So it's been a battle. And I want to say congratulations to our new secretary, Deb, and I know you'll do a great job there. But this past year, we've relied a lot on our songs, on our ceremonies, and our language, and to try to help curb some of the things that are going on with everybody, the entire planet. And one of the things that we are very proud of is that with every adversity we've faced, our Indigenous women have led that battle, and we followed you, we've cheered for you, and they say things happen for a reason. So we're at a point in our history where we need those fighters now. So we couldn't be much more prouder than we already are. I want to share a song in the Midwest here with the Ojibwe tribes. It's gone global now. As our healing dance is called the Jingle Dress. And it's in honor of the women and it's honor of everybody. And this is a celebration, right? So I'd like everybody to stand up if you would, and feel free to dance. I'm gonna sing a short song, and this is a healing song, but it's also a social song. It's a time to be happy. It's a time to be together. And it's a time to lean on one another. Good things are gonna come to us in the future, we know it. So thank you. Thank you.
Miigwech.
Miigwech, thank you so much. So we would love, Madam Secretary, I believe that your sisters are there with you. And we were just wondering if they wanted to share a few words with
Yes,
everyone.
they're gonna trade. Sharice and I will move on that side of the table.
Okay.
Good evening.
Hello. Welcome. It's so lovely to meet you. It's Zoe and Denise, is that right?
Yes,
Denise.
I'm Zoe.
So tell us, how are you ladies feeling? Such a big day for Indian country and for your family.
Yes, it is. My knees are weak and we're here screaming, and yes, it was, and I feel it was an inevitable thing, and I knew it was going to happen. But it's just so awesome to have the confirmation and to have it from all of you. We're an emotional family. I'm sorry. But I want to thank everybody at home. I've been getting texts and emails from people at Laguna, and oh, I appreciate every single one of you. We know all of your prayers have been here, and I know my sister has felt all of them. Thank you, Deborah. We have all felt all of them. We are very proud. We are very happy, and we know it's about time. So things are going to start rocking and rolling, and there's just going to be no stopping my sister. There's just not. So we appreciate everything, and the why to all of you. And we know that your thoughts and your prayers are with her. All our people from New Mexico, I live in Union County. I'm getting a lot of texts from Union County, and thank you, everybody. We just appreciate all of you. Though and I feel the same way that my sister Denise does. Sorry, Deborah is smart, and she has a heart of gold, and she's the hardest worker I know and the most unselfish person I know. And I just feel very grateful that all of you see that in her, that it's not just us, our family, but it's all of you. And thank you for your support. You're who brought her here. And sorry, I'm emotional too, but this is so exciting. And so we're just so grateful to all of you that you believe in her, and that you see the good in her, and she will do a great job. We're extremely proud. My mom, who can't be here today, is just beaming. She's so proud. as with all of our families. So thank you for having us. And I wish I could speak without crying, but thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, please don't apologize. I can assure you, as tears are streaming down my face, there is not a dry eye in this Zoom house right now at all. We're so grateful. And I guess, what are you all cooking for tonight? We're all curious.
Well, spaghetti. Tonight it's spaghetti, not anything traditional, but we all just had a craving for spaghetti. Yeah. And it's a little hard to find good chili here. For some reason, and Deborah and tortillas. Yeah, Deborah didn't think we could find corn tortillas. We were going to make tacos, but she said, "Oh, we probably won't find any corn tortillas."
Well, good. Well, I know that Madam Secretary's daughter is en route up there. Is there any other relatives there that want to say a few words, or is Skip there?
Skip is here.
Yes. Love to hear from him.
Well, thanks very much for having me, and good evening to everyone. I was thinking about the fact that this all began approximately 3 months ago, and it's been such a incredible long journey, and it feels a little bit surreal that it's finally come to the appropriate conclusion, which we certainly appreciate. Deborah and I have talked about this many times over the last few months and weeks, and it's just an honor to have this opportunity to serve the country. And it's a challenge. It's our lives have changed forever. We recognize that. But we are well prepared, and she's steady as a rock, so I don't have to worry about that. We'll get it done, and we appreciate everyone's confidence in us, and look forward to an incredible journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Skip. And we are all holding your entire family up in our prayers.
Thank you.
For sure. And you've made everyone hungry for spaghetti if you're watching the chat. Spaghetti's become tradition as of today. So with that, I would love, we're running out of time here, but we have another special guest who has been such an important commentator, right? And has really carried an important pathway, in the media. And so I want to turn it back over to Jade to introduce our next speaker.
Thank you, Crystal. Yeah, wow. I am really honored to introduce my dear, dear friend and colleague, Julian Brave Noise Cat. Julian and Data for Progress they've been a true champion behind hashtag Deb for Interior, whether it's creating memes or writing critical articles in the media and really changing the narrative and shifting culture when it comes to this issue, and also providing us with really critical and smart data and research to move all of this forward. So just so grateful to you, Julian, and to your team at DFP. And yeah, really throughout this whole process, when Julian or DFP said, this is what we need, we listened, and just really grateful for the insights and the guidance you all give us. And yeah, would love to hear, Julian, how you're feeling, and just, yeah, tell us a bit about what's going on for you right now.
Well, Wade Khochaidap, Julian Brave Noise Cat Wensquext, Wade Kukbi, Madam Secretary Deb Haaland, Latwen Poopsman Elliot Tiktamich, Ech Pescata Uluch. Hello, everyone. My name is Julian Brave Noise Cat. I want to give a special honorable greeting to, I think, our soon to be officially Madam Secretary, Deb Haaland, in the language of my people, the language that my grandmother has preserved and is one of the last speakers of. the Secwepemc language from what is now British Columbia, Canada. I also just want to acknowledge that I'm calling in from Washington, D.C., which is the homelands of the Piscataway people. Although I consider the internet to all be Indian country, we can claim that too. So, you know, I'm so honored and humbled to get the opportunity to speak today, to say something as our Madam Secretary is on the Zoom. And I was really thinking about what the appropriate, you know, bit of words to share are. You know, I acknowledge that I'm much younger than I'm sure many of the people on this call, and that you know, in our culture and many of our communities, we let our elders speak before us. So I just want to say that you know, I want to acknowledge that I apologize for speaking ahead of anyone who's older and wiser than me. But you know, I've had the incredible honor and privilege over the last few years to get to know the Madam Secretary as a politician. I've written about her and covered her since she was running for Congress back in 2018. And I was thinking today about the day that I covered the first day of the 116th Congress. A day that it felt like the first day of school. I remember I had to get a special permission to go into the Capitol, and it seemed like the entire press corps of the entire world was there. There was a guy, a photographer, who had like a French American accent, who was like in my ear asking, you know, where is Cortez? And you know, trying to get photos. And I heard the voice of Michael Barbaro, the guy who hosts The Daily, when I was checking in to get my press credentials to get into the House sort of press corps area. And it just felt like such an incredible and special day. And when I was sitting up in the press gallery, and it was, you know, it was incredibly packed, all the journalists were like shoulder to shoulder together. I was flipping open my reporter notebook that I carry around when I go you know, out and do my reporting and interview people like Madam Secretary Haaland. And as I was flipping open to the next available page, I noticed that a few pages before I had put down some notes from a conversation that I had with during a visit with my cousin, a relative who was at the time living on the streets in Kamloops. And, you know, just sitting there and thinking about, you know, her suffering and the suffering that our people have lived through, are still living through, and looking out at the Congress and the fact that there were 2 Native women down there. And for a moment, I honestly, I'll admit, I had doubt that electing people could change any of this. You know, I was looking here in my reporter notebook, and just a few pages before this incredible moment, there was this immense moment of suffering that my family and someone who I love was still going through. And then I, you know, stayed for a while, and then I remember seeing that really historic moment where the Madam Secretary, I guess then the Congresswoman and Congresswoman Davids, embraced. And, you know, Deb, I'm sorry if I call you Deb still sometimes, you know, took Congresswoman Davids' scarf and, you know, dabbed the tears that were coming down her eyes. And, you know, in that moment, I felt like, you know, maybe this stuff can matter. Maybe slowly but surely getting people like Congresswoman Davids, like Congresswoman Haaland, now Madam Secretary Haaland, into these positions of influence can be meaningful for our people. Maybe that representation can make a difference. Maybe that difference will be too slow. And it would have been great if it happened a year ago, or even better, 200 years ago or 400 years ago. But it'll make a difference, and it will matter. And, you know, I just feel incredibly honored and humbled, Madam Secretary, that you have entrusted me to share, parts of your story. And I think what is really, really, truly compelling about your story is that so many other people on this Zoom call across the country saw your story, saw that moment of you and Congresswoman Davids embracing, saw what it would mean to have a Laguna Pueblo woman as our Secretary of Interior, and they felt moved too. We all feel moved by who you are and what you represent. And I just want to thank you for being you, for entrusting me with parts of your story, and for entrusting all of us as part of your broader community to go out there and advocate for you and fight for you. This is undoubtedly going to be one of the most incredible things that I think all of us have ever had the opportunity to be a part of. But we also know that it's not the end, and that there's so much more to make this into a meaningful thing for all of our relations across the country. So Cook's Gem, thank you. And yeah, really appreciate it.
So there are so many, I'm having a hard time, sorry. Secretary Haaland, there are so many people on this call who've been telling stories about the impact that you've had on their lives, and so many who are thinking about the future being very, very different because of our collective efforts together. And I just would like to call on, for one last time, the president of NCAI, Fawn Sharp, to say a few words before we close. Fawn?
Yes, yeah, well, Madam Secretary, what an echo, what a reflection of so much of what we've done today, what we represent, but all of those generations that went before us. It is just, earlier on the call, I said, we prepare ourselves, and we have visions, and we have dreams, and we have certainty that things will happen, but nothing truly prepares us for that moment when it does happen. And I think what we're experiencing all across Indian country, in addition to wanting to have spaghetti for dinner tonight, what we are experiencing is just an indescribable sense of emotion at every level, within our hearts, within our spirit, within our minds, just simply trying to process and truly embrace this moment. It just seems so indescribable. And I just want to thank you on behalf of the 574 tribal nations that we represent at NCAI, that we know this is a sacred moment. We've gone through so much this last year in the pandemic with the impacts of climate change. And if there was ever a person who was called to lead us during this time at Interior, it couldn't be anyone else but you. You've prepared an entire lifetime for this moment. You've been passionate about climate change. You've been passionate about ensuring that tribal nations are not only represented, but we have a voice. And not only are we able to be in a position to express our voice, but we are heard. And our decisions and our position and our thoughts and all that we bring to the table is respected, and it matters, and it can be decisive. And so we are just beyond thrilled this evening, and just look forward to and beyond, because this is just the beginning. And we're just so incredibly honored, happy, humbled, and just know that this is the answer of so many prayers for so many generations. And I also just can't help but think of the future generations that are going to so benefit from every day that you serve in that role. The work that you do is going to just continue to echo generation after generation. So on behalf of NCAI and all the tribal nations that we represent, we look forward to the partnership. We congratulate you, and we are just so very honored to share this moment and have this time to share some words with you. Steel Quill, thank you, Madam Secretary.
Well, and I thank you so much, President Sharp. And I know, Judith, we're pretty much at time, and I'm sure spaghetti's getting close. Madam Secretary, folks want you to know that you can pick up corn tortillas in Adams Morgan, apparently, in case you want to have some tortillas. But
that'll be my first stop. That'll be my first action.
In your brand new big black rig, be able to drive around and go get some corn tortillas. But we're gonna start to wrap it up. I'm gonna hand it back over to Judith, but I just want to say thank you again, Madam Secretary. And I've been thinking about this day for a long time, and I think more than anything, I think about our kids. And my daughter just messaged me and said she was watching live. And I think for all of us, right, with our children, our grandchildren, our nieces and nephews, the fact that they can look at you today and just know that anything is possible. And you and Representative Davids and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan and so, have already shattered those glass ceilings before, but we just want to say thank you so much for everything. And we just love you and continue to keep you in our prayers. And so, Judith, I turn it back over to you for us to close out.
Okay, so Native Organizers Alliance, we're going to create space on the ground so that you can do your job. We're going to organize, we're going to mobilize, and NDN Collective and Data for Progress and United We Stand and Protect the Sacred and IllumiNative, we're going to create that's political space so that we can achieve great things together. And so I think we must end with an echo hawk. We have one more echo hawk. Like I always say, it's not an Indian meeting without an echo hawk. And I'd like to, maybe Crystal, you would like to introduce your cousin.
Yes, definitely. And just so honored, so proud. I want to call forward, if we can get him up on the screen, my cousin Bunky Echo Hawk.
Before we
oh yeah, sorry, Holly. Yep, go ahead, Holly.
I wanted to ask Secretary Haaland if she could tell us a little bit about her next 2 days. I know everyone is very excited to see the official swearing in. As you've said, you are still a member of Congress. You'll be resigning your seat, receiving the commission. But if you could, I know all of Indian country is really interested in hearing that. And thank you so much. Congratulations, Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Holly. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much to everyone. I am moved and grateful and just incredibly grateful for all of you. So tomorrow I go in, I sign my resignation letter today. I also have a letter that I sent to the Secretary of State in New Mexico, Maggie Toulouse-Oliver, so that they can schedule the District 1 election. So those two letters will go out tomorrow. I send the letter to the speaker, and then once that letter is read into the record, I am officially resigned. That should happen tomorrow afternoon sometime. And then we think, we're not quite sure, but the swearing in ceremony with Vice President Harris will either happen Wednesday or Thursday. We're not quite sure. But now that we know the vote came in and I am confirmed by the Senate, my child, Selma Haaland, will be in the room, and she is ready to put it on Instagram Live on her account. It's at Coffee Queer. And so she's ready to make sure that, we share that moment with the world. And so we'll make sure that some key people, know when that time is and where it is. And then Selma actually made a little invitation that she's ready to post once we have a time. So appreciate that, and just so grateful for all of you, and really can't wait until I can see you all in person again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. All right, I want to tee up Bunky, but I think we had a great suggestion. We really want to hear from an Alaska Native person, since we know that was a really important organizing push up there in Alaska. So I want to call on Princess Johnson. Is she available to speak? On behalf of all Alaska Natives,
Hey, that's how we do.
She just ran out of the room, I think. Princess, are you there?
I just
Yeah, this is me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Hi, Princess.
Hey.
Hi. Oh my goodness. I just wanted to say that we're going to celebrate with a big pot of caribou soup tonight. And every time I open my freezer and I see salmon and I see vatai and I see dinjik, I am going to feel good about an Indigenous woman being in this position to help protect that for future generations. And just we're praying we're praying for you. Many blessings from Alaska, and just masi cho for all of this work and the sacrifice you're making to be in this position. Masi cho.
Thank you, Princess. Okay, it's time. It's hard to say goodbye, y'all. I know we've been sitting around the virtual fire, chewing the fat, thinking about Deb and the great things she's going to do and all the great things we're going to do with her. But it's time to say goodnight. Crystal?
Yes, and so we want to call on Bunky, who is citizen of both Pawnee Nation and Yakima. And I'm so proud of Bunky. He's just one of our really important artists, and for our Pawnee people, he's also just really one of our song keepers. And so we wanted to just ask Bunky if you would send us home in a good way, and send the Madam Secretary off in a good way on her journey, and also for her meal that she's about to share with her family.
Aho, nawa akitaru charik se charik sa tarasa pangkiakohak. Congratulations, Madam Secretary. Indian country is sure proud of you. Just want to share this song for you right now. Pawnee's song composed by the late Vance Horse Chief. Congratulations again. I appreciate you and everything you're doing. Wow.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Let the work begin. Continue.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, everybody.
Onward.
Thank you. Congratulations. Love you.
Hi, everybody.
Gagayan, Nagada. Love everyone. Bye.
Love you, Deb.
See
CJ.